So far, we've been consuming these streams using the for each method. But quite often, we want to collect the result of a stream into a data structure like a list, a set, a map, and so on. Let me show you how to do this. So first, let's get a stream. Now, we can optionally filter. Let's say we're only interested in movies with more than 10 likes. Now, to collect the result into a data structure, we call the collect method. This method is overloaded. The version that we use most often is the second version that takes a collector object. This collector is an interface, and it has several different implementations. We have collectors for converting a stream into a list, a set, a map, and so on. Now, to create one of these collectors, we use the collectors class. This class has a bunch of static factory methods for creating collector objects. For example, we can call the toList method, and this will return an instance of the collector interface that knows how to convert a stream into a list. So let's get the result and store it in this variable. Now look at the type of this variable. We get a list of movies. Pretty useful. We also have toSet. This will collect the result into a set object. Let me show you. So now we have a set of movies. We also have toMap. With this, we can collect the result into a hash map. So let's say we want to have a hash map where we use the title of the movie as the key and the number of likes as the value. So over here, we need to pass two functions. Now, I know this tooltip looks intimidating, but this is actually very simple. Look at the first version. Here we should pass two functions. One is called key mapper, the other is called value mapper. With these functions, we can determine what attribute of a movie we're going to use for the key and the value. So we want to use the title of each movie as the key. Here we pass a lambda like this. Movie goes to movie.getTitle. Now the second function. With this function, we determine what attribute should be used for the value. So m goes to m.getLikes. Or we can use a method reference. That is even better. So replace and replace. Now, let's print the result and see what we get. So we get a hash map with two entries. Here's one entry, B is the title of the movie, and 20 is the number of likes. Now, what if you want to store the actual movie object as the value? So here we need to pass a lambda that takes a movie object and returns that movie object. Now run. So the value of each entry is a movie object. Now this lambda expression looks a little bit weird. We have a better way to write this code. So look, here we should pass a function, right? An object that implements the function interface. Now this function interface itself has a static method called identity. And this returns a function like the one we expressed using that weird lambda expression. So this function gets a value and simply returns it. Now, if you run, we get the same result as before. We also have collectors for collecting the sum or average of values. They're pretty useful. So instead of the toMap method, we call summing int. With this, we can add up a bunch of integer values. So here we need to pass a toInt function. That is a function that takes a movie object and returns an integer. So m goes to m.getLikes, or we can use a method reference. So with this, we can sum up the number of likes of all these movies. In the last video, you learned how to do this using the reduce method. This is another way. We also have summing double. This will return the result as a double. So take a look at the type of this variable. We get double, okay? Now let me show you my favorite collector. That is called summarizing. We have three versions, int, double, and long. Let's use this one and see what we get. This gives us statistics about the values in our stream. So after the filter operation, we're going to have two movies that match this criteria. These are the two movies that have more than 10 likes, right? So count is 2. Now the sum of these values, 20 and 30, is 50. Their minimum is 20. Their average is 25 and their maximum is 30. This is very useful in building real applications. We also have summarizing long and summarizing double. They do the exact same job, but return the values as longs or doubles. We also have a collector for joining values using a delimiter. For example, we can get the name of these movies and combine them using a comma. So after filter, we map each movie to its title. So I'm going to use a method reference, movie, get title. Now, we use the joining collector to concatenate the name of these movies. Here we can optionally pass a delimiter. And with this, we get something like this, B, C. That's very useful. So what this returns is a string object. It simply concatenates the name of all these movies. So with these collectors, we can collect the result of a stream into a data structure.